Yeah, when it comes to fraud and chargebacks, something
Yeah.
really interesting that we're seeing is more merchants are actually interested in leveraging pre-dispute alerts, which is what ChargeBlast offers, as opposed to leveraging front-end prepayment authorization fraud blockers. And the reason why is because with the fraud blockers, there's a good chance you're blocking good transactions because you're
Yeah.
trying to prevent chargebacks. However, with ChargeBlast, you only protect against actual chargebacks.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Grow IT podcast. One of your hosts here, Trey King. And today we're very excited to have our guest Chief from ChargeBlast. And we'll be diving into his story a little bit today, as well as what it is his company does. And then, as always, some good engaging insights into the technology industry. So make sure to stick around for this one. But without further ado, Chief, welcome to the Grow IT podcast. Thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for having me, Trey.
Chief, you don't mind if we could kick things off, if you would introduce yourself and just tell us a quick snippet or two of your background, your story, please.
Sure. So my name is Chi Sao. I'm one of the founders and CEO of ChargeBlast. And well, I think a key part of the ChargeBlast story is kind of how we started, which is that we were once a merchant ourselves. So before ChargeBlast, my co-founders and I, we had an AI business that was direct to consumer. And as with a lot of different subscription AI businesses, there comes a lot of chargebacks. People forget to cancel their subscriptions or simply folks
Oh
don't
yeah,
want to pay. So an interesting number is that 75% of all chargebacks are actually considered friendly fraud, as per Visa data. So there's a lot of folks that are simply using the payment system to basically not pay for services, and it's really damaging to merchants. And so when we had our business, we saw our chargeback rate go up. We were afraid of losing our Stripe account and we were looking for solutions. We didn't find any great solutions on the market, so we created our own, which is ChargeBlast.
that's awesome.
And yeah, and now here we are. It's been about a year and a half, and we protect over $2 billion in annual transaction volume from chargebacks and have serviced over 2,500 merchants.
Wow, that's good stats, man. That's really good stats. Tell me, so the obviously the business started out of a problem, right? So which and the best usually does is to obviously solve a problem or challenge. But having said that, what is it about what you guys do that makes you so passionate about it?
Yeah, I mean, it really is fighting for the merchant. The whole payments system is to protect the consumer, which makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
But now in this day and age where it's so easy to file a dispute and folks have kind of realized, oh, I can get away with pretty much 90% of friendly fraud, the consumer will just get their money back to get free product, right?
Yeah.
So we're really passionate because we provide a solution that's for the merchant. And there's not many solutions out there that are there to protect the merchant from friendly fraud. And because of that, we're very passionate about our ability to make a difference in these SMB businesses where it's an owner or a family running the business and they're really scared that they're going to lose their payment processing. If they lose their payment processing account because of friendly fraud, well, they can't take in any payments. They don't really have a business, right? So it could
Yeah.
be a business ending event for merchants. So we're there to protect them from that.
From that, tell me, your business, is it like only sounds like it, obviously, is it only like B2C, or is there, do you have like B2B clients as well?
It's primarily B2C. B2B, there's a lot fewer chargebacks. B2C is where you see a lot of consumer friendly fraud, especially in the subscription space,
Yeah.
subscription e-commerce, subscription software, and things of that nature. We see a lot of chargebacks.
Tell me, Chief, based on your expertise, what are the, that you would say the current market trends that you are aware of, given the fact of our industry, right? What ways are the winds blowing these days?
Yeah, when it comes to fraud and chargebacks, something
Yeah,
really interesting that we're seeing is more merchants are actually interested in leveraging pre-dispute alerts, which is what ChargeBlast offers, as opposed to leveraging front-end prepayment authorization fraud blockers. And the reason why is because with the fraud blockers, there's a good chance you're blocking good transactions because you're
yeah,
trying to prevent chargebacks. However, with Charge Blast, you only protect against actual chargebacks. There's no risk score. There's no guessing which transaction is gonna become a chargeback. It's
yeah.
whenever a customer actually files a chargeback, that's when we intervene. And that's when we're able to give the merchants basically 48 to 72 hours heads up so that they can address the dispute directly with the customer and stop it there and then, as opposed to it hitting the payment processing account and putting the merchant at risk.
Yeah, that's quite profound, G. My word. Um, uh, if you don't mind, maybe to add to that, what's your take on the current market sentiment?
The market sentiment in
Yeah,
fintech or
yeah.
payments,
Let's fintech. Yeah,
I would say the market sentiment in fintech right now is quite bullish in regards to the number of solutions that are available, not just for processors, but as well as solutions like ours, where it's a software spot solution that addresses a very specific problem. Now, what's a little bit problematic for fintechs as opposed to merchants who use fintech products
yeah.
is things are becoming commoditized, right? Not so
Mm,
long ago, Adian on one of the earnings calls said payment processing is a commodity. It's kind of a race to the bottom when it comes to price wars and things of that nature.
yeah,
You see this in our industry as well, because at the end of the day, everything is built on the same payment rails for Visa, MasterCard, etc. Everyone has the same access to all the same data, to all the same functionality, etc. So to be a fintech is very challenging. And
mm,
to succeed, I think it really takes continued innovation as well as continued white glove client service, which is something that we focus on. Now, on the merchant side, it's great because there's so many options. They can really get their pricing down pretty
right.
materially, right?
Gotcha. Yeah,
And they can start seeing some of these savings roll through to their bottom line that can be pretty material. So, from a merchant perspective, the fintech industry is evolving to the point where it's becoming much more affordable and profitable to be a merchant as opposed to before.
that's very interesting. You mentioned earlier, G, a couple of points what your business, what you guys do. That's from a value standpoint that I could see. Man, this makes sense, and the I can fully understand why you guys do what you do. Um, I just want to hear it from your end, from a value standpoint. What would you say is the most significant value, right, that your business, brings to the table?
Yeah, it's quite simple. Most of our merchants come to us when their chargeback rate hits above 0.6% or above. That
Yeah.
0.6% is Visa's their first threshold for early warning on their monitoring program. So once you're above that 0.6% or higher, there's a risk that your payment processor views you as too risky and will shut down your payment processing account. Like I said, when your payment processing account gets shut down, you can't take in payments, you can't sell anything, right? Your
Mm,
business is basically over. So the value of Charge Blast is to make sure you never get anywhere near that 0.6% so that you
right.
can operate with your mind at ease that you're not going to have your payment processing account shut down. So that's the true value of Charge Blast at its core essence. Now, what we've discovered, though, that's quite interesting, is that
Yeah.
merchants that use Charge Blast and get that dispute rate down, they
Yeah.
not only de-risk their payment processing account, but actually their payment processor as well as the card issuers, they see this merchant as a safer, healthier merchant account. And because of that, payment processors as well as issuers, over time, they will let the merchant process more volume. So, for example, when you first get started on Stripe or on another payment processor, the
Yeah.
number of total attempted transactions,
Mm.
the percentage of total attempted transactions that actually go through might be like 80%,
Yeah.
90%. And that's just a risk protocol that the processors and the issuers have to have so that they can make sure that you're not going to rack up a bunch of chargebacks, leave, and then it's on them. Now, by reducing the chargeback rate, you're safer. You have a track record of having a low dispute rate.
Yeah.
Now, the processors and the issuers say, hey, look, we'll let you process more. You're a safe account. Let's allow you to have 1%, 2%, 5% more in volume, which is pure revenue and profit, right? This is stuff, well, maybe not profit, but it's pure revenue. This is stuff that people tried to pay for before, but got blocked either by the processor or the issuer.
Yeah, this is so interesting. This is very, very, very fascinating for me. Um, I wanted to ask you if we can maybe step back from specific the business, but just more focus on holistically business world. Obviously you guys have been at this for quite some time, but what would you say, in your own opinion, what type of mindset, right, is needed to be a successful founder of a company?
Yeah, I'd say the mindset is really just you need to make it happen, right? You need to have the mindset of if I don't make it happen, that's it.
Mm.
So you do whatever it takes to make it happen. So I would say the first year of business was definitely the hardest,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of uncertainty and but you really just have to make sure like any lead that you get, follow through with it as hard as you can. If someone says no, don't necessarily give up right away. Try selling them at different angles, right? So we sell from a dispute lowering angle, we sell from an authorization increasing angle, we sell from a fraud reduction angle, depending on the merchant. And demonstrating ROI in a quantitative and tangible manner is key. And if
Mm.
you can do that, I think founders can be very successful.
Successful.
Um, yeah, but you just really have to demonstrate that value prop and not give up in terms of figuring out how to demonstrate it.
So, when you guys started out, like you rightfully mentioned, it's not always, the road's not straight, right? There's always challenges and bumps along the road. Is there maybe like a bump, a challenge that you guys had in the beginning, if you don't mind, maybe to share, and how you guys basically then what you guys did to overcome it, right?
Sure. So we're pretty new to the payment space. So none of my co-founders or myself have ever been in the payment space. Now, anyone who knows about the payment space understands that folks in payments, they're in payments for like 10, 20 years.
Oh,
It's quite crazy. So
that's crazy.
we were newbies in the space by far. And we didn't realize the ecosystem that we were playing in. So there's a whole mindset of startups being disruptive and, breaking things to move the general status quo forward. But the thing is, in payments, everything is so intertwined and built on top of a common infrastructure. You
Yeah.
really have to figure out how to navigate all of the different players that and stakeholders that are in the industry. You can't just go around and compete vigorously with anyone you want. That's just not the way it is in payments. You have to be very mindful of
Yeah.
how you establish yourself and compete with your peers.
We've got a lot of listeners that's on the younger side when it comes to business, and a lot of them are still actually might be working for another company, and they're wanting to you know you take that entrepreneurial route or take that leap, obviously the difficult one to take for most. What are some important things, is there maybe something that's maybe one or two that you have learned up until now, with the business and your career, that you don't mind sharing to the guys that's wanting to get out there?
Sure. So it's always good, I would say, to start businesses on the side. And
Yeah.
then once you have enough traction and demonstrated success, you can leave your full-time job. So I did that to a degree.
Yeah.
And, I had my full-time job and it was at Point 72 at that time. I was working as a hedge fund analyst. And I would work from basically 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. for my full-time job. And then I'd work out for an hour and then dial in for my side stuff kind of between the hours of 10 to midnight or 1 a.m. And then little by little, you build progress and you build some indicators, or you start seeing some indicators that this can be a full sustainable business.
Business.
And then I left when it became much too overwhelming. I was getting like 2 hours of sleep a night. It didn't make any sense anymore. My body was just worn down and I just had to
Yeah.
leave. So it got to that point and I went full time. But a lot of businesses can be started on the side, but there's a lot of sacrifice, right? You're not going to get much sleep, especially as you get to that critical point of, do I make the jump or not? That's where life is going to get very tough. But once you get there and you make the jump, then over time, I think it gets a little bit easier.
Yeah, I agree with you on, you need to risk it to get the biscuit, right? So, to
Yeah.
put in the efforts, and having said that, not necessarily that, what's that saying? Don't quit your day job. For
Yeah.
other guys that wants to get into it. So, but I need to thank you for your input today. It's always good to have somebody on that, started out, worked hard, got to where you guys are. I mean, the stats you spoke about earlier is very impressive. What you guys have done. Thank you for this insights. We really appreciate you coming on, man.
Absolutely. Always happy to chat and very excited for all the folks listening to your podcast that are building businesses, because it's one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done in my life. I didn't
Awesome.
find this level of fulfillment in any of my jobs prior. And I've
Yeah.
tried all sorts of jobs. I did consulting, I did corporate development at an agriculture startup, worked at a hedge
Yeah.
fund. Honestly, nothing has been as fulfilling as having my own business. So really rooting for all the folks listening to your podcast.
Appreciate it, man. Just before I let you go, where can the listeners get hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty active on X. So my handle is Chi like cheetah. So
Yeah.
for anyone wondering how to say my name.
I struggled
Um,
with that at the beginning, right? So
exactly. That's why I have it as my X handle, right? So, and then also on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn
Pretty
as well.
active on LinkedIn as well.
Excellent. And then do you guys have a company website as well?
Yeah. www.chargeblast.com. Just the same way you'd imagine spelling charge and blast. So,
Chi, thank you so much for coming on. You've been great, man. Appreciate you. All the best to you in your business.
all right. Thank you, Trey. Appreciate
Take
it.
it.
Bye bye.